welcome to What to Do with Emotional Pain. My name is Robin Kiesler, and I'm here to walk you through the first part of my Building Emotional Resiliency program. And before I do, I just want to talk for a minute about the reason that this matters. And so my mission statement in my business and in my life is to help set people free from whatever it is that's keeping them from fully experiencing life the way that it exists in their wildest dreams. And what I've found over my years of doing this is that I really believe that emotional pain, we get stuck in these mental and emotional ruts, and we don't know what to do with this pain. We don't know what to do when we get stuck. And that's what keeps us from really fully experiencing life. We get stuck in these painful emotions: fear, shame, regret, guilt, confusion. And these are the things that keep us from our best lives. And so that's what my goal is, to help set people free from that. And there's a few other things that go into it, but that's really the foundation. And so this is what I want to talk about. When I was in my early 20s, I did so much to try and get out of emotional pain, and I really didn't know what to do with it. I tried coping with food as a young child. I was like, well, when I'm in pain, if I eat, that helps me feel better. But it was just temporary. As I got older and I moved into my adolescence, and then I started realizing, well, how sex and drugs and alcohol, that helps me deal with emotional pain. But again, it was just temporary. And what I found was all these ways of dealing with this emotional pain, not only was it so temporary, it really didn't work. When I did feel the pain again, as soon as the sex or the drugs or the alcohol or whatever, the dopamine from the food, the cookie, the cake, the burrito would wear off, not only did I have the initial pain that I was feeling in the first place or trying to avoid, but now I had all this compounded pain. These coping mechanisms started to make me physically, spiritually, emotionally sick. Oh, darn it. Not only was it not helping, it was making everything worse. I built tall walls around my heart. Emotions weren't safe. And so I pushed people away, or I kept them out. I didn't let anyone see the real me because I was too scared of what that would mean. And I didn't know if I could deal. I didn't know how to deal with the pain that might come with rejection or the fear of inadequacy. And so I then turned to perfectionism and achievement. Well, all this drugs and the alcohol and the food, this is making me sick. There's got to be another way. And so then I started seeing, well, what if I got a degree? What if I got 2 degrees? Was that enough? It wasn't. What if I got, a big fancy career that everyone would respect? I became a critical care flight paramedic. I tried working in school districts and government offices. I tried everything, any careers with clout that might make me feel good enough. None of it worked. It was only temporary. And soon, the pain of rejection, the fear of inadequacy, the grief and the regret of all my life choices would just come barreling back at me. And then I would be stuck again with the question of what to do with my emotional pain that was now compounded. The pain began to turn into depression, self-judgment, apathy, self-loathing. I was really at the bottom of my barrel. I had lost my identity. I had lost my authenticity. When I looked around at my life, I didn't recognize it. And it sure didn't seem like a life that I was going to be living. At least not when I was young. That's not what I dreamed of my life. And that was hard. I was completely in a cycle of stress and burnout that I didn't know how to get out of. I had lost my power, my energy, and my ability to dream. I was losing faith. And then I found something that changed everything. I went looking for it. I realized I needed something different. I needed a different answer. All this stuff that I was trying, nothing was working. And I was starting to get physically, emotionally, spiritually sick. And then I found radical acceptance. And it began me on a journey to learning another way of dealing with emotional pain. So everything I'm about to share with you is not new. This is nothing that I necessarily developed myself. What I have done is I have taken the best of all the things that I found and I've put them together in a way that makes sense to me, and I'm going to share that with you, okay? So, the correct answer is processing those difficult emotions, okay? Instead of resisting them or avoiding them, numbing them, or even just reacting to them. I would classically lash out in anger, or if I was feeling depressed, I would just lay in bed all day because I didn't realize that I had agency and control over my emotions. I didn't realize that I was able to recognize, hey, I'm feeling depressed or anxious. And so I'm going to process that emotion through and release it, and then I'm going to choose a new one. I didn't know that I could do that. And so I was just at the mercy of whatever emotions would come into my life. And so what I'm going to share with you is 6 steps to feeling better. If you want the hard copy paper version of this so that you can have it and in your desk drawer or at your bedside or wherever and have something that you can refer to, email me at robin@robinkiesler.com. You can find me on my website or whatever, and I will absolutely make sure that you get the link to that, and then you can have a paper version of this that really is a guide that you can refer to when you need it, okay? So, like I said, these principles that I'm about to show you are nothing that I necessarily developed. You'll hear all the greats talk about it. When you study this topic of emotional resiliency or processing difficult emotions, like I said, Brooke Castillo talks about this. I rely heavily on her work. Tara Brach is the one who wrote Radical Acceptance, and she talks about the reign of self-compassion. And that's very much 4 of these steps are things that she talks about heavily. Brene Brown calls it her Rising Strong process. All of this stuff is going to be tied in to the work of all these people, and you'll begin to recognize it, okay? I just took the foundational pieces, and I'm just laying them out, and we're going to go through it. And then, like I said, if you want the paper guide to refer to, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll make sure you get it. Maybe I'll even put the link for it down below in the notes or whatever, or in the comments, and you can get it that way. Okay, so step 1 of processing difficult emotions. The first step is recognition. This is learning your body's cues, or I call it learning your tells. It doesn't always have to do with your body, but a lot of times it is. So learning your body's cues, recognizing when you're overcome with an emotion. This is sometimes referred to as flooding, where your brain shuts down, you can't think. So for me, when I'm in anxiety, I can notice when I'm taking deep breaths, having a hard time breathing, or sometimes with stress, people talk about it showing up in their stomach. They start to get GI symptoms. For some people with anger, maybe they feel it mostly in their head. So it's all about beginning to recognize when you are having a strong emotion that needs processed. Okay? Something's going on. You're feeling the urge to drink, you're feeling the urge to smoke, to eat, to run, whatever. And some people have healthy ways of processing their stress and their emotion, and some people have unhealthy ways of processing that. But either way, even if it's a healthy way, even if you go for a run when you're feeling really upset or whatever, that's a really healthy way of processing that energy. But it's still important, I think, to recognize that there's something going on and to be able to go through the process of finding the cause and dealing with it. The Stress and Burnout book, what are their names? The 2 sisters that wrote it. Their names are escaping me, but it's called Burnout is the name of the book. And they talk about the difference between a stress and a stressor and how you can recognize that you're having a strong emotion and you can process the stress by working out or having a good cry or whatever it might be. So you're dealing with that physiological stress that these emotions are bringing into your body, but you still have maybe the stressor in the environment. So whether that's your money situation or your work or whatever. So there might still be more to address. So recognizing when you're feeling triggered and recognizing those patterns is really important. I will say too that there are some people, especially when this is new, have a hard time recognizing their physical cues. And so what I've noticed is sometimes these people, even though they're not able to recognize that they're having physical responses to these strong emotions, they can sometimes recognize it in their life. And so they'll recognize when they're lashing out at their kids or lashing out at their boss. They can recognize when they've just eaten an entire pizza and they know that like that's maybe not like me. So there might be things like that you notice, or recognizing, man, I haven't done the dishes in a couple days, the house is a wreck, I've just stopped cleaning, I feel like maybe I'm slipping into a depression. And so this is why I call this learning your tells. So that can be a physical tell in your body, the way you're feeling, or it can be something in your life. So that's the first step, is recognition. The second step is allowing. This is the part where you learn to allow the emotion to exist, allow it to just flow through your body and to be there without fighting it, without resisting it, without trying to change it. This can be really difficult. Sometimes this is in fact maybe the hardest part. One of the most important parts of allowing an emotion is really to just get grounded. So once you recognize that you've had something come up for you, if I'm at work, sometimes I just say, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I go to the bathroom. If I'm at home, I'll go to my bedroom and shut the door. And just breathing. This step is really all about getting present in your body, getting present, just being still, and just breathing and allowing the emotion to exist. Just be with it. If you're feeling angry or anxious or whatever it might be, just know that this is a normal part of the human experience. There's nothing that you need to do with it right now except just allow it to be there and sit and be with whatever emotion it is that has come up for you. The third step is to name it. What is this feeling that you are experiencing? What is this emotion? What is it called? I want you to call it out. So the thing about naming your emotion or calling it out is that it separates you from it in a very important way. Emotion, if you listen to Simon Sinek, or he talks about where emotion is created, there's a lot of places where you can really study it, but emotion is created in the limbic system, in your primitive brain. And so when you are in the middle of an emotion, a strong emotion, grief, anxiety, fear, whatever it might be, that emotion is being generated in your primitive brain, in your limbic system. And so when you name it or call it out, this is fear, this is anxiety, this is grief, this is frustration, it switches and it moves your brain from generating the emotion to analyzing the emotion, to observing it and trying to understand it. And so that's an important switch. It gets you out of that obsessive whirlpool of generating, experiencing. And it gets you into looking at it. So that's important. Don't skip that part. And if you can't quite call it out, that's okay. You can, this is something, I don't know, maybe I'm frustrated or angry or disappointed, something in that ballpark. I'm sad, I'm lonely, it could be a few things. And so you can just kind of get close and do your best, and you can come back to this, okay? But just know that this is really a critical step for getting you out of generating the emotion and into being able to analyze it. And that's where describing it is going to come into play as well. So with the step of allowing, you recognize that something has happened. You've agreed to just allow it to be there. So you go, you shut the door, you get grounded, you breathe. If you notice sights, sounds, smells, just really bring yourself into your body. Okay, I'm experiencing fear. I'm experiencing anger. Now I want you to describe it. What does it feel like? Where does it show up in your body? And how does it feel? I want you to describe the physical sensations that emotion creates. In your face, in your head, is it in your neck, shoulders, chest? Maybe your hands, maybe your arms feel heavy. Maybe your hands feel weak. Maybe you have a tightness in your chest or a catch in your throat. Sometimes people talk about temperature sensations, that they feel flushed. Maybe there's heat on their cheeks or on their ears. There's a pressure on their forehead or a tightness or a tension, right? All these kinds of things. A knot in my stomach. Sometimes I hear people describe waves, like waves or butterflies, right? I've heard people describe that it's like there's a balloon around my heart, or in my stomach there's like a sinking feeling or an expanding feeling. So these are all physical descriptions of how different emotions can show up in your body. So I want you get grounded, breathe, get present, allow the discomfort to be there, know that it's a normal part of being a human, call it out, and then describe it. Just really go head to toe, close your eyes, and as you're breathing, just go head to toe and describe what you're feeling. And keep it just the physical sensations. And this can take some practice too. This can be a little bit difficult for people at first. Like I said, I'm always here to help you go through this if you need. This is kind of just an introduction, okay? The fifth step is to investigate the cause. All right? So this is where you're going to take a moment to understand what's causing the emotion. I am feeling blank because fill in the blank. I'm feeling angry because my son flunked his math class. I'm feeling angry because my wife lied to me. I'm feeling anxious because I'm feeling grief because my partner said she wants a divorce. I'm feeling grief because whatever it is that you're feeling. Okay, I'm feeling confused because. And what I want you to do, if you can do this with a journal, that is the best way to do this, especially in the beginning. Because what I want you to do is find the thought. It'll all come out like sentences in your brain, right? This is a sentence. I'm feeling this because what? There's a sentence there. And that all that is a thought, or there's a belief, right? I'm feeling depressed because I'm not good enough, right? That's a belief or a thought that might come up. So I want you to find the sentence, the belief that makes your body feel its worst. If you sit down and do this, you could write an entire page on why you're feeling self-doubt, on why you're feeling uncertain, on why you're feeling angry, anxious, resentful. You can write whole pages on this. And so that's what I want you to do, is really just start writing it out, right? Feeling angry because I should have got that promotion. I would have done a better job. I could do a better job. Get all those thoughts out onto a piece of paper. And then I want you to circle the ones that make you feel the worst, or the ones that were running through your head just before you started to have the panic attack or the rage come on. Okay? So that's investigating what's causing this emotion. And the thing about this too is I don't want you to be mature or filter in any way. I just want you to be honest, be authentic, be open, be honest. Nobody else is going to read this, okay? So what is it that you're feeling or thinking about the person or the situation? What am I thinking about my boss, my partner, my kid, myself, my self-worth, my future, my past, my actions, my behaviors? What is it? Whatever it is that's going on with this topic, really be honest with yourself and get out all the things that you're thinking and believing about it. Okay? And there could be a few. Once you're finished with really understanding why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, then this final part, and this is the part that Tara Brach really, as far as I know, developed, and it's this idea of nurturing. When she talks about the reign of self-compassion, you know, a lot of people talk about the importance of recognition and getting grounded and all these other things about processing emotion and the thought work and what are you thinking and believing. And it's so important to have whatever process you follow, they all tie it all together, right? The thoughts, the mental part, the emotional part, the way that it feels in your body. And then the thing that I love about what Tara does is she talks about this nurturing aspect. And so I want to wrap up with that. And so the last part is taking a minute to really nurture the wound. And in order to nurture the wound, you need to understand the wound. Where did it come from? But also, what does it need? What do I need in order to heal? What do I need in order to feel better? Same thing. I recommend writing this out if you can, but at least say it out loud. If you take a moment and you really get in touch with yourself and those parts of you that are feeling the most pain, the most anger, the most distrust, the most resentment, the most grief, if you go to that part, if you close your eyes, breathe, call it out, describe it, investigate why I'm feeling this way, and then really just say, yeah, this is why. And then ask yourself, what do I need in order to be okay? What do I need right now from this person, from this situation? Do I need to be understood? Do I need to be listened to? Do I need to be heard? Do I need to be respected? Do I need to be cared for? Do I need to be reassured? Maybe I need to feel loved. Really understand, at the end of it all, what is it that I'm longing for? What is it that my heart is longing for? If the pain is rejection, what is the antithesis of that? Do I need acceptance? And then this is when you begin to explore the possibility of what it would look like for you to give that to yourself. What would it look like for you to give yourself a little bit more love, a little bit more acceptance, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more reassurance? And if you want to take it to the next step, you could. I'm angry at my son because he failed his math class. What do I need from him? Well, maybe underneath all that, you're angry at him because he didn't listen to you. He didn't respect you. He didn't take your advice, right? So you wish that he would hear you, that he would respect you, that he would listen to you. So maybe you ask yourself, what do I need? If that's what I need, what would it look like for me to respect myself a little bit more, to listen to myself a little bit more about the things that I need, but also what would it look like for me to listen to him, to give him a little bit of respect and understanding? And would that help to soothe some of this pain? What would it look like for me to respect myself? Is there a fear under there that maybe I wasn't a good dad, but maybe I wasn't there for him enough? Are you able to give yourself a little bit of respect and to know that you're doing a good job, even though he's having a hard time right now? That would just be an example. One of the things that I love about what Tara Brach says here as well is, she even mentions if you need to spend a few minutes talking to yourself, offering yourself some gentle words. That's just not something that we're used to doing. But I find it can be really powerful, to just close your eyes and put your hand on your heart and say things to yourself like, it's okay, sweetheart. I love the way that she says that. I'm sorry and I love you. That can be really powerful. I care about this suffering. Man, that can really be powerful when you're in a place of really strong emotion and such deficit, and you really need something from the world. To just even give it to yourself can be really empowering. So what I want to show you here, so these are the 6 steps, and what I just want to say is that this does not have to be a linear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stepwise process. It's a great way to begin if you're new to this, but just know that sometimes recognizing that you're having a powerful emotion, getting grounded, breathing, just allowing it to be there. This is normal. Okay, here we go. Hold on for the ride. And then sometimes I'll say, okay, this is anger. This is grief. This is rejection. I'm feeling rejected. Whoo! Right? This is jealousy. This is how jealousy feels. Describe it in your body. Okay, head to toe. I can feel, where do I feel it? How does it feel? And sometimes, say I start investigating, I'm feeling jealousy because, and as I start to go through the causes, I might feel a wave of it just really start to come again. And so I may come back up to just recognizing here's a huge wave of emotion and I just need to breathe again. I just need to breathe. And I may, if I'm feeling grief, I may just start crying, and I may just need to sit here in allowance for a little while and just cry and breathe and just sit with it. And then I might come back, okay, this is where I feel it, this is where I feel it, this is why I'm feeling it. Okay, here comes another one. And I might do this a few times, okay, and jump around in this process before I ever come down to the nurturing. Okay, what is it that I need? What is it that I really need in order to be okay, in order to heal, and then nurture the wound? And once you're able to get through all this process, however long it takes, however many times you have to do it, you will feel these things begin to release. And that is the part where we get to move on to step 2. And step 2 is where we get to replace these emotions as they have been processed and they no longer need to take up so much space in our hearts. Then we can fill our hearts and our lives with new emotions. Okay? And that, my friends, is the secret number 7. Replacing the emotion with a new one, okay? And so when I talk about being free to fully experience life the way that we want to, this is where this all comes from, right? So we get rid of all the nasty stuff. We recognize it, we process it, we stop ignoring it, resisting it, numbing it, and we actually face it. We face the fear, we face the pain, we acknowledge it, we feel it all the way through, we release it. And then we get to fill our lives with all this good stuff. We get to choose, what do I want? If I'm angry at my son because he failed his math class, once we process that anger and we understand it and we've really gone through that and we can feel it begin to release, we get to ask ourselves, what do I want to feel instead? Maybe instead of feeling angry, maybe I'd rather feel curious about what's going on with him, right? So all these things, we can feel sexy, we can feel abundant, we can feel determined, we can feel generous, we can feel adventurous, right? We get to feel contentment maybe. Maybe you just want to be at peace with your life. You know, there are some people that want confidence more than anything. They want to feel confident in who they are and what they're doing in the world. And so this is the second step, authentic, courageous. What do you want the emotional makeup of your life to be? And that's going to be what we move into after this first part of processing the difficult emotions. And so that is part 1 of what to do with emotional pain. If you want the hard copy to refer to so that you can take yourself through this process and really learn it better, please let me know. Shoot me an email. I will make sure you get the link to that. Again, if you are doing the 5-day emotional detox that I run, then you are going to need to just keep an eye out in your inbox for the subsequent emails, and I'm going to send you each day, you're going to get an email with a little bit of a prompt and activity to help you master each of these steps just a little bit more, okay? And then lastly, of course, is for all the people that are in my Building Emotional Resiliency 101 online course. I do run that 2-month online program where we do a deep dive into understanding each of these, understanding and building that recognition muscle, recognizing how these things feel in our body, recognizing patterns. Oh my God, I feel anxious more often than not in the evenings, and really understanding, I wonder why that might be. And there might be some other causes for these emotions that you haven't seen yet. And so you have an opportunity there to dig a little bit deeper. If you are a part of my Emotional Resiliency 101 online course, then you know that you have the opportunity to shoot me those emails, and you're going to schedule one-on-one sessions, and we're going to go through each of these steps and really dig deep into your life and help you master these tools so that you can move on and build the life that you want. And so you guys are going to get the workbooks that have the daily and weekly exercises for applying this information, and then of course you know to reach out to me to schedule your live one-on-one sessions where you get the support to go through this, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Just shoot me an email at robin@robinkiesler.com. Okay, talk soon. Bye-bye.